Is she okay?
Do you see where she's hit at?
No, it's on the side of her head. They're saying she's pregnant too.
Take a deep breath.
This woman was just informed that her daughter, Tiara Harris, was shot in a gang-related incident and is in critical condition.
They just were shooting, and the blood just started dripping from her head, like shooting them under.
It's Atlantic Station.
Like, I can't even talk right now, bro.
Her boyfriend rushed her to the hospital, but sadly, it was already too late.
That's crazy.
The worst part, Tiara had nothing to do with the shootout. She was an innocent bystander. A simple mix-up left an innocent, pregnant mother of 2 dead, her children now motherless, and her family absolutely heartbroken. The police now face a grueling investigation. However, with everyone involved supposedly being gang members, catching the killers would prove to be much harder than anything they'd done before. We've been in touch with Yolanda, the mother featured in this video, and are proud to share that half of the video's profits will be donated to the Akron-based charity First Glance Student Center. At 7:29 p.m. on April 14th, Akron Police Department would receive multiple calls reporting dozens of gunshots being fired out of 1492 Rockaway Street. Witnesses would describe what seemed like a gang-related shooting with multiple cars speeding away from the scene, one being a silver 4-door Chevy. Police managed to quickly track down the Chevy, following it as the driver sped across back roads in Akron. However, the Chevy wasn't actually running from the cops. It instead would pull over somewhere that concerned the cops even more: the hospital.
There's someone in the car still.
Yep. Hey, hold up. Might make sure something.
Did he take his girl? He picked his girl and took her to the hospital? He a real one if he did that.
Shut the car off. Shut the car off here. Go ahead and put your hands on top of your head, all right? Nope. Hands on top of your head. Step out. Step up.
What's going on? So he did it. I'm so confused.
All right, man. Here, step back here to the back of the car. Go ahead and put your hands behind your back.
With the incident being reported as a gang-related shootout, police would assume the man driving the Chevy to be a gang member, meaning he would be very unlikely to talk to them. So instead, they decide to stop him in the back of a patrol car for later interrogation. As this was going on, dozens of additional 911 calls would ring in, witnesses would arrive at the Akron Police Department to give their testimonies, and more cars would arrive at the hospital. Most importantly though, 4 miles away, a young woman would be placed in an ambulance under critical condition.
So 2 people got keep this one for the memory. They said he's treat you when you're not on top.
2 seconds later.
Driving the Benzo. See the
Bullet wound.
Oh, so she
to
was
her head.
different. Oh.
Turns out all of this would be connected to a large group of reckless shooters. It's at this point that we need to step in. This is one of the most complex and mysterious cases we've ever covered, so we need to break down some details first in order for you to fully understand the case itself and how well the police handled every single step of solving it. At 7:22 p.m., a car arrived at 1492 Rockaway Street carrying a number of people who started hanging out with some friends on the side of the road. This group included Javier Small, Lanier Worthy, and Jonte Smith. Everything seemed fine until 7:29 p.m., a black vehicle reversed into the street carrying Tiara Harris and her boyfriend George. Her boyfriend recognized some of the people on the sidewalk and wanted to back up and say hi to them. At that very moment, on the other end of the street, 3 men emerged from an unrelated vehicle and started firing
so they caught them.
bullets.
Oh.
These men were
Bro, he a goofy. I ain't gonna lie. Whoever driving this that's the goofiest hit in the world. So you did a U-turn. Y'all popped at them up the street. Then turn around and did a U-turn. And then you just think that you not... I'm surprised the driver ain't get smoked.
Meyer Saunders, 17-year-old Anthony Whitaker, and Darion Rackley, all affiliated with the gang BBM, a notoriously violent gang active in Akron at the time. There was also the driver of the car, Jeremiah Williams. Their shots scattered the group on the sidewalk, with everyone running for cover. In the panic, Jonte and Javier drew their guns and began to shoot back. Bullets went back and forth, and everyone went into a panic as they realized their lives were at risk and a bullet could strike them at any moment. Seconds later, the dust settled, and the BBM members Zaire, Antonil, and Darion fled the scene. However, a grueling silence would ring throughout the street as Tiara's boyfriend, George, realized Tiara was the sole victim of the shooting. With BBM splitting up and running in different directions, George flooring it to the hospital, and everyone on the sidewalk either heading inside or preparing to head to the hospital too, cops would begin the grueling task of figuring out what just happened and who ultimately was the one that fired the killing shot.
Oh yeah.
Now that you understand exactly what happened, we can join the police as they try to figure out what just went down and how to solve the developing mystery. Remember that all the cops have received at this point is a phone call alerting them to the shooting and a description of the silver Chevy they've just pulled a gang member from.
There's another victim that's at we don't know where that victim's going to go. There's a possibility that victim may be deceased. Yeah, they got shot. Okay.
Someone's got to go check, probably.
Two of the officers ran over to the front of the hospital and discovered Javier Small and his girlfriend in complete distress.
He can't go with you in that room.
Because she got to go to get checked out. Hang tight.
As it turns out, another girl was also hit in the shooting, that being this man's girlfriend. Luckily, she was only shot in the leg, but he was still extremely distraught and horrified about the whole incident.
I don't think he was a slide. He wasn't sliding though.
I gotta go to the house with my girl, bro.
We'll get you. I'm gonna come back. I'll tell you how she's gonna be fine.
That shit traumatized. It's not even funny. This shit is like really traumatizing, bro.
I don't know, bro. This little girl just got shot, bro. No.
Despite how distraught this guy is, he was a passenger in the Chevy, which they just found multiple firearms inside of.
Oh God.
So police promptly arrested him.
Hey, Palpy, we'll take him over here.
Across town, however, there's someone in a much worse position. Tiara Harris, the passenger in the black car.
I don't even want it. We already know. Let's get to the interrogation. We kind of already know what's going on with them.
To be innocent and actually provide a detailed description of everything that went down that night.
You turned off here, so
no, I didn't. I came this way, and I said, "What y'all got? Like, what y'all got going on over here?" Like, I'm like basically saying, "Y'all good?"
Right.
As soon as I said that, somebody from down here got to just shooting a gun that just kept shooting. That's all I know. But I didn't hear nobody or nothing like that.
So you're right there, and then you heard that. How many shots did you hear?
Man, I can't even recall. It was a lot. And then as soon as I
so you were facing this way?
No.
You literally backed all the way on.
Say I'm coming down here in this Rockaway. This would be Rockaway.
Okay.
Now I backed up.
Oh, so you backed, so the back of your car was facing that way.
And I'm like, is y'all? I'm like, what y'all got going on? Like, I look out just like that.
Like out the window?
Like, as soon as I even it should have been me. Like, you feel me? Because I'm the one that looked straight out the window. Like, are y'all all right? Y'all good? Type stuff.
The cops asked him why he was even there in the first place, to which he just said he knew a couple of people on the street and that he had absolutely no involvement in the shooting. He's claiming that when he peeked out the window, his friends mistook him for the shooter and began to fire bullet after bullet directly at his vehicle. According to him, it wasn't an accident, but a misunderstanding, making the whole situation even more tragic. With George's statement, they were a little clearer on the whole situation. But they'd made no progress into actually solving the case or tracking down the real perpetrators. That was until they returned to the scene and spoke to a number of witnesses who had watched the entire event take place.
It was two African Americans. Where were they running? Young kids. They come from back there across this backyard next door and out the driveway.
They hopped the fence.
He had a face mask on and had a 9mm. and then the other one had a semi-automatic rifle, and they were almost to the corner of the house running this way, and they both jumped the fence. Like when the kid in the hoodie jumped maroon hoodie jumped the fence, he dropped the semi-automatic rifle at the driveway.
I was just out back cutting some stuff, and all I heard was just a barrage of bullets, fully auto. It wasn't 3-round burst, 4-round. It was fully auto.
Coming off fast.
Oh yeah, hot and loud and fast. And then I saw 2 guys when I was out back. I could see through the backyards, through the fence. I saw a silhouette of 2 guys running up towards that street, returning single shots as they were running away.
There's casings up here. Yeah.
That's crazy. This is real life. Live it down.
You think?
What that right?
It was like 30.
Like where all these cones are at, probably that amount?
30 or 40. But this happened over there all the time.
Where's over there?
Right there, the house right there.
I heard a lot of gunfire, but when I first heard it, I thought it was a backfire because I saw this car sitting over here where all the cones are. He had his lights on. So I thought he was working on a car and it backfired real bad. Then I saw them loading people into cars to take them to the hospital, and I knew it wasn't, because this has happened so many times before. This
is a white block.
I don't know what we're supposed to do.
Right.
We can't go outside. Nothing.
Even with all this new information, though, the cops are only slightly closer to figuring out what happened. They were now at least able to confirm that one group of shooters rolled up and started the exchange before another responded, causing a huge exchange of bullets throughout the neighborhood. But they still had 2 major questions. Who were the shooters, and how was Tiara involved? Well, the cops had just spotted another witness that might be able to answer their questions. A woman who was actually on the street the moment the bullets started flying.
So you don't live here?
I'm not even from here.
Oh.
I was visiting.
So who owns the house?
Anitra Johnson.
She is? Okay.
She was out to eat when I called her.
Okay. Everyone's okay though, right? The kids?
The kids, yes.
Yeah?
The kids are okay. I got them in the back watching TV.
Okay.
There was another girl outside. I think she got shot in the thigh or the leg. I think they took her probably to the hospital.
Okay.
She definitely got hit.
Okay. So what did you see?
I'm sitting outside. To be honest, we all family. So we're all outside prayer wrestling, like act like we hitting each other and stuff. Next thing I know, I just heard these gunshots. I'm like, all right, was that a BB gun? Come through shooting.
Yeah.
And it was like, pow, pow, pow. They came through again. So I'm running up, I didn't even know where the gunshots came from. I'm running up, trying to grab the kids. They came through twice.
Okay. Did the house get hit at all?
I mean, I don't even fuck. Is that a bullet right here? I don't know. I was really just trying to grab the kids.
And you said, so what? They got out of a car?
They didn't even get out of the car.
Or they just started. They were hanging out.
They was
shooting?
hanging out shooting.
Okay. Did you see how many by chance? 3 of them. Okay.
Now it's starting to sound a lot more like a drive-by shooting.
Right.
Notoriously one of the hardest types of crimes to solve, especially if the vehicle was stolen.
Yeah.
The cops are starting to lose confidence that they'll ever find Tiara's killer, but then they decide to ask one simple question.
Ma'am, do those cameras work?
I believe so.
Okay.
She's on her way home.
Oh, she is? Okay, perfect.
There were CCTV cameras on the property, and as soon as the homeowner got back, they'd have access to the footage. So in just a few hours, the cops were able to put together just enough footage to understand exactly what happened. Remember, we already know all of this, but for the police, this was huge. Now they had a detailed timeline of the entire incident, including at what time it went down, how many people were involved, and which vehicles the suspects used. This would be very useful in the coming interrogations in terms of verifying their suspects' claims and pressuring them to confess. Police finally had a solid piece of evidence, and right as their case had started to build some substance, their biggest lead yet would step out right in front of them.
I have video of them carrying the girl that got shot.
They pretty much is they own it. They it's not even nothing else to see with that. They own it. So I don't just goddamn go to the interrogation footage. Straight up interrogation. With Jeremiah also being a supposed gang member, he too would prove to be extremely difficult to break. However, by using expert methods, police would actually get him to break completely, to the point where he actually started to cry.
You want some tissue?
Fake ass gangster.
Yeah, that's true. How's it going, Jeremiah? Pretty good.
Sorry for the wait, man. I'm Detective Smith. This is Detective Davis. Nice to meet you. All right, man. So the reason why we have you sitting here talking to us is we need you to think back to April. There's an incident that happened on Rockaway.
Right.
Remember this? This young lady got shot. Remember hearing about that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so during our investigation, your name's been coming up. But do you know about where you were that day, if you can? Or
I was definitely at home.
Apparently, Jeremiah also has an alibi, and even gives multiple names over that'll attest he wasn't on Rockaway that night.
You're at home. Yeah. Where was that, at Amherst?
Amherst. This was right before my mom moved to Louisiana. My best friend, Rob, talked to her sister, the girl that died, her sister, Dayani, or Diane, or however you say her name. My best friend, Rob, was like in a kind of little...
Like dating?
Yeah, with her sister. And it was crazy. We got on Facebook, and it was all over Facebook. Her sister had got killed and stuff. And my mom was like, ain't that the girl that came over here the other day? And we like, no, that was her little sister.
Has her little sister reached out to you guys or anything?
We haven't talked to her, and I don't talk to her at all for real, but.
So you were at your house on Amherst?
Yeah.
Was there anyone with you that day?
My mom.
What's your mom's name?
My mom's name is April.
However, the detectives know this to be untrue. They know he was at the scene from the Facebook post he made. They know he did it, so they want to get a confession, or even better, some information that might help put more people in handcuffs. The thing is, they're initially going to find that a lot harder than they'd hope.
Right.
I have to ask, do you recognize this car?
Dude, this was the car that was in that video. That's on Facebook.
So you remember it? Yeah. Have you ever been in this car?
No.
Do you know who drives this car or owns this car?
I don't know him by like name, but I know who he is. His name like Pa or something.
Pa?
That's what they call him.
Do you know, can you describe him?
That's funny because I don't even really know what he looks like. Like
I mean,
every time I've seen him with a
That's
ski
him.
mask.
So he's stitching on real people. That's crazy.
I've never seen him outside of a ski mask.
Okay. All right. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Your past. Like, have you ever been in trouble or anything?
Yeah. I'm actually right now. I got probation.
So like just a weapons possession charge is all you got?
It's like carrying a concealed firearm in a motor vehicle.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Jeremiah is making a conscious attempt to give as little information over as possible while still trying to seem cooperative. He's smart. He doesn't want to completely close himself off, as that'll make him seem guilty, but he also doesn't want to give up any vital information. The cops ask him who was there, where he was sitting in the car, even questions about the guns, but he refuses to speak, and he's starting to seriously frustrate the cops. But all this talk of courts and investigations doesn't seem to be getting them anywhere at all. So instead, they switch gears. They're going to be as direct as possible and give it to him straight. That's their last hope at getting him to crack.
That's probably gonna work.
What do your friends call you? You have a nickname or anything?
Jay.
We're just getting to know you, man.
Right.
Obviously, you can see that you're not a bad person. Just the vibes I'm getting.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't know that
But
YN.
you're in here talking to us for a reason.
You don't know that YN,
Coming
man.
back down to this incident. You being honest with us is what we'll be able to work with you. We know that you were there. And we also got your DNA in this car.
If I've been in that car, I would tell you guys I've been in that car. I don't have no reason to lie or no reason to put myself in any trouble.
Your role in it is the driver, because we know you're the driver. Really what we're looking for is why. You're already being charged with the incident. You explaining your actions and what really went down is just going to help with your role in this. We know you didn't pull the trigger, but you not being honest with what went down is not going to help you. It's going to, the prosecutor and the judge and jury are going to look at someone who's not remorseful.
Drove over there and they started shooting.
So they told you to drive over to Rockaway?
Yeah.
Who was sitting where in the car?
In the front, and Zebo sitting behind me, and then
Snitch.
I was sitting on the door.
It worked.
Snitch.
The cops actually got a name. It was a nickname, but cops could eventually tie this back to a man named Zaire Saunders, who would be interrogated later. This was huge. They'd actually gotten a gangster to tell on one of his partners. But they weren't done yet. They knew he still had more information, and they weren't going to stop putting on the pressure now.
Right. Full court press.
We gotta go back to who was in the car with you. I know you know Zebo. Pa, you say you just know him by Pa. Do you know his real name? Okay. And the third person, you're saying how often have you seen him? Would you be able to identify that last person by a picture?
Jeremiah physically looks defeated. He's avoiding eye contact and is hunched over. He likely never saw himself giving up the names of his partners, but that's exactly where he found himself. The cops, however, are over the moon, even managing to get descriptions of the people he doesn't know the names of. They ask a few more questions before leaving him alone for a minute to prepare their next move. However, on their return, they didn't expect to see Jeremiah, a once tough and unbreakable gang member, to cry because of what he'd done.
You know, it's over with. That's a body.
What'd you say?
End of the attempt. I don't know how many attempts.
And his first name was what?
Darian.
Is this him?
Oh man, when they pull out them pictures. That's why, no, don't cry now, little nigga. Don't cry now. You was so gangster. You was so tough. You sliding, you riding around. You think you gang. And they time to really put the pressure to you, now you crying. Oh boy. This is what they get charged with, man. We're gonna go ahead and see what the hell, man. Charged this.
4 years on similar charges, while the
Able to have a lawyer with me right now?
What's that?
Can I have a lawyer with me?
You can do whatever you want, man. I'm not here to. Okay. Are you saying you want your lawyer? You don't want to talk?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But in the end, this wouldn't matter, as when they arrested and processed him, they managed to confiscate his gun. And after analyzing the forensics of the bullet inside of Tiara and Lenier's gun, it was a match. Lenier had fired the killing shot. After 5 months of investigation, all the puzzle pieces were finally in place. In total, 7 people were charged in this incident. Zaire Saunders was charged with involuntary manslaughter and 4 counts of felonious assault and was sentenced to 35 to 40 years. Antonil Whitaker and Jeremiah Williams got 20 to 24 years on similar charges, while the 4th assailant in this group, Darion Rackley, got 34 to 40 years. It was confirmed Antonil's DNA was in fact found on various bullet casings on Rockaway Street, despite his claims in the interrogation room. The next 2 to be sentenced were the ones who shot back at Zaire's group after being rolled up on. They were Javier Small and Jonte Smith, who were sentenced to 4 years and 2.5 years respectively. Lastly was Lenier Worthy, Tiara's actual killer. However, as of this video's upload, he's still awaiting sentencing. Tiara and George were not involved in—
That's crazy. That's just crazy. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. That's insane. And everybody that got anything associated with that shit, that anything with popping back, anything, they got years put on their time. Not worth it, man. Just hop out the streets, bro. No matter what you thinking is going on or what you think you got to do, it's not worth it. Where I live, there is no such thing as a YN.